think of this. Okay, well, the name is like Michael Moldenhauer. It's from 803 North Main Street in Moscow here. And well, the thing I want to say was that I've argued. So first of all, if maybe I won't. I've trouble with this kind of just talking here. It's kind of difficult. I have a certain mental problems that makes it difficult sometimes. But I'm going to try and say, what I want to say is that the thing that I was thinking was I was going to offer a comment. Well, personally, I know what I personally would side with, but I'm not here to offer just another side. I was here to offer a comment. Someone mentioned earlier about how it's a complex thing, and I'd suggest then that if you want to say it's complex, but then they argue, well, you should still keep the thing to celebrate it. It's still basically saying that one is to be celebrated, the other is to be celebrated. But it's like, I don't know. I don't think you can. To me, since if you say to keep the thing and celebrate Columbus, whatever, I mean, it's like there isn't really a what you call it. It's because there. It's like to say that to me that. When he fantasy did go and kill a lot of people, so if you say he is to be celebrated, it's like you ignore that it started a long historical plan. Yes, it's creative writing, yes, but they did also kill. They did also kill a lot of people. When he first came there, he did go and he had in his ships. He had people in there who he brought with him he would go to the islands and he'd have them rape. That was what they did, and that's his own logs. That's what they had in there, and so he was already on it. But the point is that because it's a complicated thing, if you just say, if you have a day just to celebrate it, it's not sure what to say. I'm just saying that it doesn't seem right to me, I guess, to have a day. So if you say you shouldn't have a day to celebrate the other, maybe you should just not have either. I'm just saying, it should.
Michael, I got a question to ask you.
Yeah.
So your point of view is you should not have either one of them? Is that what you're telling us? Or?
No. Personally, I'd prefer the other, but I just prefer having the indigenous peoples thing just because of honor. So he was wrong, because it makes more sense as a redress, so they said. But at the same time, but on the other hand, from a more broad point of view or whatever, I guess that it would be like that. There's, there. I think.
Okay, Mike, I'm gonna
Thanks.
go ahead and cut you off. Thank you for your point of view. I think we all got you. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Michael. Yeah. Hold applause.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Jonathon Graydon, 116 South Jackson Street, Apartment 2. I work at the Appaloosa Horse Club, which is the breed registry for the Appaloosa horse, the Nez Perce horse, the spotted horse used by the local tribes in this region. And so as somebody who works there and has become familiar with the history of the Chief Joseph War Trail, some of the pressures and atrocities committed by the U.S. Army on natives throughout that history, I very much support Indigenous Peoples Day. I think it's a very good thing locally because we have such a great history here of Native peoples and rich history, which includes culture and art and everything else. And just a quick comment, there are several states right now who do not recognize Columbus Day as an official holiday. Some of them recognize it as alternative days. Hawaii recognizes Discoverers Day for the Polynesian discoverers. Vermont recognizes Indigenous Peoples Day. And I believe this will be a great thing for Idaho as well, and Moscow specifically. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yep, folks,
Good evening. My name is Juliana Rapp, and I live in Spokane, Washington. I don't live here in Moscow, but I'm...
Can you give us your address in Spokane? Then?
Yes, it's 4205 North Marengo Drive, Spokane, 99212.
Okay, thank you.
I'm speaking today as an Nez Perce tribal member. I'm a member of the tribe. My brother's here. He's also a member of the tribe. So as a member of the indigenous people from this area who lived here long before Moscow was built, I came here tonight to support and to voice my comments that the City Council and the Mayor consider changing the name to Indigenous Peoples Day to rid the city of, or the holiday, I guess it's not really fully celebrated as a holiday, but to change it from the name of a racist individual who committed cultural genocide, and that's already been spoken to somewhat by the human, I can't remember his name, is it Mr. Fonts or?
Yep, Ken
Mr.
Fonts.
Fonts, yes. So I'm just asking the City Council to have you stand on the right side of history and change this name to Indigenous Peoples Day. This would follow a long line of cities. There's over 50 cities, 50-plus cities across the United States, including Spokane, Washington. We changed the name last year in 2016. Portland, Oregon has changed the name, Seattle, Washington, and so there's many cities that set a precedent to change the name of this offensive individuals, Columbus. I want to also go over a little bit of history too. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. I admit I haven't seen the resolution, but I want to go ahead and just mention that the basis for a lot of the changes that came in Seattle and in Spokane originated with a proposal in 1977, and that was an Indigenous Peoples Day, when Indigenous Peoples Day, was first proposed by a delegation of Native nations to the United Nations sponsored, when they sponsored an international conference on discrimination against indigenous populations in the Americas. So way back in 1977, this change was being worked on and considered, and then again in 2011, I'm not sure if you've seen the resolution, but the affiliated tribes of Northwest Indians, who represent 59 tribes from Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Northern California, Western Montana, and some Alaskan tribes, passed resolution number 11-57 to support changing Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And so I'm requesting, just respectfully requesting, that you consider the people such as my ancestors and many other indigenous peoples from this area to change the offensive name of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for joining us here. Folks.
I'd just like to say
Sir?
one thing.
Your name and address, sir.
My name is Devin Wright. I live at 103 North California Street in Garfield, Washington. I agree with both sides of this. Like, it's really hard to decide. When I think her name was Heidi Gina, I couldn't understand because of her accent. But I agree that it is our history. And if we are going to change the name, and just to support both sides, you could change it to Columbian Exchange Day, not Columbus Day. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Thanks for that good point of view, young man.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Mayor, could
Yes.
he go over to Laurie and give her his name spelling? I think she had trouble getting it.
Did you get that, Lori?
Would you just go over and spell your name to her, please? Thank you.
Who's Devin?
Good evening. My name is Sandra Kelly. I'm at 517 North Garfield Street in lovely Moscow, Idaho. Love being a Moscowite. I've been here for 10 years, and I've always taken great pride in being here. Take great pride in the chance we have this opportunity to actually talk to the city councilman, so thank you for that. The sign I turned around that I was grateful to hold up says, "It's time to do the right thing." And I really, truly believe it is time to do the right thing. We have a long history. It's a complicated history. We're not changing history. I think we're trying to do the right thing and put the right part of history. It's time to call it Indigenous Peoples Day. This is Indigenous Peoples land. Thankful to be here. Thankful for my ancestors that settled here in Pierce, Idaho. I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan, and I'm proud of that fact. I wouldn't have mentioned it if I weren't proud. But I also know that it's time to remember the people that were here first. It wasn't Columbus. was our Indigenous friends. I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for those who have spoken tonight. And really, let's just do the right thing. It's time to change it. It's time to put Moscow, keep Moscow on the map as being the first city. Proud to be Moscow. Let's lead the way in Idaho. Thankful to the University of Idaho and even Boise State for taking the first step in this position. Never thought I'd say that, I have to admit. But I am. And so let's follow on that pathway, and let's let Moscow lead the way in doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Folks, that was